And I think we're live. I certainly hope we are, because it says up the top we're live. So good evening, folks, and welcome to episode 29 of The Vegan Hour with Crissi Carvalho, the vegan fitness model. Thanks for coming along, Crissi. This is Tuesday, August the 15th, just in case you didn't know what day it was. And The Vegan Hour is brought to you by Vegan Frothers and Burleytown Storage. They're in the background there. And if you're watching this live, which you would be at the moment, they're back to front, but they will be the right way around when you watch this on YouTube later. So before we get tonight's show underway, before you get to find out who Crissi is and you get to find out what she did on Ninja Warriors and the top tips on how to become a Ninja Warrior, before we get to those details, let's just talk about a couple of events that are coming up. And thank you, I can see people coming online there. Phoebe says, hi guys, that's good. Actually, I should read these comments coming up on the browser. So let's see if I can get it to work with this technology. Okay, we are, oops, hang on, bear with me, we'll just go down to that. No, that's not going to work. We'll just go to the, oh look, there we are, and we can see comments down there too. Great. Okay, I'll just park it there. Right, okay, good. Now, coming up this weekend, this Saturday, Saturday, you want to be at the Botanical Gardens at Ashmore on the Gold Coast. Fantastic, beautiful place, really, really nice place. There's a Sugarshine Winter Warm-Up, and that's raising funds for Sugarshine Sanctuary down at Lismore. You ever been down there? No, you haven't been down there? Should check them out. Kelly Nelda runs it, and it's just it's a fantastic place. 11 a.m. at the Botanical Gardens at Ashmore. There's Flower of Life. I nearly said Feed the Earthlings. Flower of Life are doing special sausages and just for this event. That's the word I was looking for. There's a word there somewhere. So anyway, 11 a.m. be there. Now, at the same time as that's on at the Botanical Gardens, I'm having a Vegan Life, Vegan Luck in the Park. So combining the two, so you can go along and you can just relax with the Vegan Luck in the Park, bring along vegan food to share, meet the, other like-minded people, and yeah, it's a lovely place. So that's this Saturday. Now, on Sunday is the Cube of Truth at 10 a.m. in Currawat Park at Broadbeach. So if you want to get into some activism and you want to spread the word to the public and let them know what's actually going on with animals, then yeah, that's where you want to be. Kerry says, tried watching it dead, but I couldn't hear anything. I'm sorry about that, Kerry. That's probably your connection or something. Phoebe says, hi from Port Macquarie, and yes, thank you for joining us. Now, one other announcement before we get tonight's show underway. There, you can't see my head now. Froth Fest coming up this Sunday, October the 8th from 12 o'clock at Miami Marquetta. The entire Miami Marquetta is going vegan for the day. Yes, isn't that fantastic? And I believe you may be there too.
I think I can make that now. Yes, actually.
Crissi may actually be able to make it.
I was wanting to, actually.
So the Froth Fest. Now, the good thing about the Froth Fest is all the proceeds are going to Sugarshine Farm Sanctuary, and Jared says sound is a little funny, and I guess you don't mean hilarious. Can you describe what you mean by funny? Is the sound good or not, Jared? Can you let us know? Sugarshine Farm Sanctuary is, I'm just trying something there. Sugarshine Farm Sanctuary and Sabre Cow are the recipients. Funny squealing. So can you hear what we're saying or not, Jared? Because funny squealing doesn't sound very appealing.
It's not me.
I'm not squealing either. Cheryl says all good here. Okay, so it just depends on where you're watching it from, by the sounds of. Yeah. Okay, so I can relax now. So just finishing off talking about the Froth Fest. All the proceeds go to Sugarshine, also to Sabre Cow.
I'm sure the tickets are on sale already.
And the tickets, thank you.
There's some really good ticket sales, Simone told me.
Yes,
so.
they're $10 each for the tickets, and here's the wonderful thing is the prizes. A 4-night stay at Anguri Rainforest Retreat in Yamba is one of the prizes. Duran Bar surfboard, Takula bikinis, vegan frothers clothing. Yeah. So now Phoebe says, shout out for Mid-North Coast vegans. Vegan Apprentice Port Macquarie is holding a meetup on Friday the 18th from 6 to 9 p.m. check out the Facebook page. Certainly a big shout out to Mid-North Coast Vegans. And if you've got a link, by all means, Phoebe, put the link in the comments there. Okay, so tonight we are talking to Crissi, who was actually, you were on the show last year on my birthday.
Yes.
October the 4th last year.
Yeah.
So it's been almost a year. That's amazing.
Almost a year. It's gone so
you've
quick.
done a lot in that time.
I have.
Now you're wearing a Ninjas Warrior jacket because you've been on the Ninjas Warrior show, and maybe some of the people watching tonight will recognise Crissi from her appearance on there.
It was only very small.
It was only very small.
It was actually last year that I'd heard that I'd got on the show, but I couldn't tell you anymore.
That's right. That's right. There was a running thing going where what often happens is I know things and I can't talk about it. You can't tell. It's all these things I know about places opening up and events about to happen and all this, and I'm like. So, and that was one of the things that I knew that I couldn't say anything. I had to keep mum about it for quite a long time.
I know, it was a long time. Even I had to.
Yeah, that's right. You had to keep quiet for quite a long time. So, but before we talk about Ninja Warriors, I want to introduce you so that people know who you are and your background, why you became vegan, that sort of thing, and also why you're called the Vegan Fitness Model, and that because people may not know much about you. So. Let's start with why did you become vegan? It's always a good starting point.
Yes. Well, to keep it as brief as I can, I started having some health problems in my mid-30s, and around about 36, I got a diagnosis of cervical cancer, or high-grade cervical cancer. And at that stage, I knew I needed to make a change, and I didn't go vegan at that time. I took a lot of chemicals and ate less processed food. And then I lost my girlfriend to cancer, and she was 38. So when you start to go through that, you start to ask the whys. And then I started researching a little bit about why. We were always quite fit in the fitness industry, and we were getting sick quite early. And that's where I started getting some more problems like bloating and those sort of things. And I decided to take dairy out. And once I took dairy out, then I started researching more, and I realized the plant-based vegan type lifestyle was what I want, what could heal some of my disorders. I had acne, and I didn't want to get cancer again. So that's when I had one or two friends. I was living in Byron Bay at the time, and it's quite vegetarian, vegan friendly.
Yes.
And so I decided to give it go vegan and go gluten free and go soy free, and I did all these things that I read about, and it wasn't that easy. I got a lot of detox symptoms, and things like my acne got worse, and and all those sorts of things. But by default, at that time, I was actually smoking. And a lot of people don't know that about me. I smoked for a short period in my 30s, and I couldn't smoke anymore. Once I went vegan, and I think I became a lot more oxygenated and healthier. I couldn't stand it.
So when you say you couldn't smoke anymore, what happened when did you start to feel sick? Or?
Yeah, so I would try to have a cigarette, and I'd be like, oh, this tastes like sewage. I didn't have to actually give up anything. And back then I thought, because I smoked organic tobacco, I thought it was, okay, this is all right, I'm going to be fine. But I think that might have been also a contributing factor. I wasn't smoking rollies and those, and plus it was expensive. So I decided to give that up and really make sure that I wasn't going to get sick anymore.
It's ultimate expenses in your health, isn't it?
Absolutely. So I think diet and lifestyle contributed to the early cancer scare and those sort of things. But the more I learned, the more I decided, I learned about animal agriculture and all those sort of things, and I could not be a part of it anymore.
Yeah.
And I really feel that a lot of people do these days change to veganism for selfish reasons, for ourselves, for health. But like myself and like a lot of people I know, most people are animal lovers, and when you really, really find out what's happening behind the scenes, I mean, I was just saying to Harry before we went to air, I didn't realize that cows were impregnated for milk. the whole entire lives.
You kept pregnant, yeah.
Kept pregnant,
Yeah.
kept locked
Yeah.
up, incarcerated like that, and I was an adult.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that sort of thing. So I think it's really important that when you do become, when you are vegan, is to make people aware of this in an educational way. So
Yes.
so
But
that
can I
rolled
ask,
on, yeah.
Can I ask what happened with the cancer? Did it just disappear, or what happened?
Well, that was before I actually got an operation to get the cells removed,
Yes.
and I decided I didn't want to go through that again, and because it was expensive, and I did feel a little bit violated, and so I thought I'm going to put my health in my own hands, and if I live a good plant-based lifestyle, that I know that I can heal anything. So
that's fantastic. And hello to Michelle, who says hello. So now I have to also mention, you said your awakening came in your mid-30s, right?
Yeah.
So that would have to have been just last week.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned. I actually turned just over a week ago 44, and
happy birthday! Happy unbelievable birthday!
I know, 44. I can't believe
44.
it.
Wow.
So, and I don't feel 44. I say to everyone that when I went vegan, I think I turned the clock back. So I went vegan at 39. So I'm 44 now. So I'm really only 34.
That's good.
So I've gone backwards.
That's good.
And that's the thing, and all this rolled on to me going back into the fitness industry, and because I felt the fitness industry actually caused me to have a distorted look that I thought I was healthy, but I wasn't all along.
Yes.
So with things like the excessive meat and protein and egg whites and all those sort of things.
So you had been in the fitness industry for how long?
I started in the fitness industry at 16 and went to around about 29.
Okay.
And and it was only sort of around about my 30 to 36 that I probably got led a bit astray. I went through divorce and started smoking
but only organic.
Well, that's what I thought. So I say I became 17 at 30, and then I went right around and grew up again once I got a scare. And I think most people wake up when they get some form of scare, life-changing scare.
It serves a purpose in
Absolutely.
that way.
I mean, I'm blessed that I went through that, and losing a friend in the process has really made me feel that I have another chance. And a lot of people say, oh, we're all going to die at some stage, and I really feel that you can say that, but there's so many people that don't get that choice. So.
And also, I think, you know, when people say that, when they actually are in a position where they're facing death, they're not saying that anymore, are they?
Exactly. So I felt it really due care not only to tell people about when I become vegan and I realised this life-changing, how life changed everything for me. I wanted to tell people in the fitness industry about it as well, that the fitness industry methods aren't healthy as well as so that's why I'm now known as Vegan Fitness Model, which we were saying before, because I went back into competing. I wanted to prove that I could build muscle on a plant-based diet, no drugs, no supplements, and so that's what I've been doing for 4 years, competing non-stop, and I place or win in every competition. So
fantastic.
And people are starting to realise, you can on plants.
You can, that's right. And I mean, there are many wonderful examples now.
Yes, there is.
I mean, we've had some on the show, like Billy Simmons.
Yes,
What's some other examples?
There's Simone Collins in Australia.
Simone Collins.
There's Luke Tan, he's from Singapore, part of the Evolve Generation crew. There's also there's so many around the world now.
Yes.
I could keep going on. There's a lot in America. There's more coming up in Europe and the UK.
So that must be encouraging, because when you're going into competitions now, you're not necessarily the only vegan or plant-based person in the competition. You might be finding support from others.
Absolutely. And just in June, I went over to Texas in America, and they've got what they call the Naturally Fit Games, and I brought a team of 6 girls.
Yes.
And the top 2 for overall. Yes. I mean, the Naturally Fit Games just means it's drug tested. Every competitor gets a polygraph test. Yeah. And the top 2 were vegan. And out of the top
Excellent.
two, one got a pro card and one was my client. So she got her pro card this year, and now she's going bigger and better.
Now, I'm pretty naive to what a pro card involves or allows.
So a pro card actually, depending on what federation, but generally a pro card means you're professional level.
Yeah.
So you cannot compete in the amateurs anymore.
Okay.
You can compete with the professional levels.
Yeah.
So
okay.
there's different federations, like if you look at football and that there's different organisations.
So does the pro card cover all the different federations, or is it just?
Not generally, but a lot of federations will say if you're a pro card in one federation, you can go and compete with them.
Oh, okay.
But not across the board.
Not across the board.
Yeah,
okay,
so,
that's fair enough. So, it is encouraging. In the 4 years that you've come back and started competing again, you've seen a lot of change happening. You've seen more people coming through like yourself.
Absolutely, and one of the best changes, like actually currently right now, on one of Australia's biggest bodybuilding Facebook pages, I'm actually Athlete of the Month.
Oh, cool.
So they have a vegan on their banner as Athlete of the Month, which means that I have a lot of respect in the industry, in the way of the athletes I produce, the way I go about my message. I don't force it down people's throats, but I'm a really good representation of how it's done in a really healthy way. So, and that it can be done.
Yeah. Now, when we spoke last year, you were very much helping coach people to compete. Yes. You're still doing that?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm doing.
I don't know where you find the time.
Well, that's it. Actually, just this time last year, I had opened my own studio.
That's right.
But I had to close that down because I was so busy online, and I had to weigh up. Okay, am I best served with my message on a global level or on a local level? And so I decided to go global and stay global, because I constantly take in clients and then close up my availabilities because I'm full.
Yeah.
And so I finding doing this gets a far better reach, and I reach a bigger audience about.
So because it's global, it's mainly online.
It's all online.
It's all online.
Yes.
Yeah. And so okay, so maybe talk us through a little bit of what this online coaching. Can we talk a little bit about what they're involved without giving away trade secrets or?
Yeah, so I do a lot of one-on-one. So there's a lot of coaches out there that write a standard custom plan, and they'll just send it out to everyone. Yes. And you might be able to get a diet and exercise plan, and but it's a custom, so it's not individually to you, and it might only cost you $100. Right. Whereas mine are a lot more expensive because I actually write them out for my customers or my clients, and we constantly tweak over the 10 or 16 weeks and update. I track their food diaries, their exercise diaries, so I make them accountable. And
you're not big brother, you're big sister.
I know, I feel like that sometimes, but
that's the role.
That's what people want to sign up for. They want to know that someone's looking over them. That if they put something in their diary that shouldn't be there, that I can tell them why. Because sometimes we can be thinking we're eating something healthy, and as soon as I give the whys, people have an aha moment of switch that for this because this has maybe more minerals or vitamins.
Okay.
And we talk about food as fuel. So I like to educate the clients along the way so that when they finish with me, it's almost like they've learned a whole lot of new skills and life things to sustain their fat loss or their weight muscle gain or whatever their goals are.
Do you find that they, when they've got your support, your encouragement, that sort of does motivate them to stay on the track better?
Oh, absolutely. And we even have private groups. So sometimes we'll get some people go, oh, last year wasn't the right time for me, but I'm back on the programs that Crissi wrote, and I've already lost this amount, and I'm going to stick with it this time. So they can still resume 6 months later when they think the time's right. So we all have things that pop up. Sometimes we had best intentions, but that didn't.
That's right. At least we tried.
Exactly.
And then,
but they learned as well, so they know what to do the next time that they're ready.
So how do you know? Where do you get your information from, or how do you? Know like what minerals and whatever else. The more technical side of things. You do a lot of research in that to know.
Yes, a lifetime in the fitness industry. So I have all my previous knowledge and loads from 16 to 30, it's almost 15 years of constant
Mm.
studying, because you have to keep registering. But I think a lot of the stuff I learned now is through eCornell, plant-based nutrition
Yes.
circuit,
Yeah.
a lot of self-education,
Yeah.
and nutritional medicine and those sort of things. So learning more about the signatures of food and those sort of things that you can really know. How does that particular food serve us and heal us, and what does it provide?
Excellent.
Yeah.
It did, it occurred to me, talking about sports type people and how, generally speaking, most of them are still on a very unhealthy diet.
Yeah.
There's been a few examples over the years I've seen, like football players and that are relatively young, maybe in their 30s, something like that, and they just keel over from a heart attack. Something like that, Some of them are really relatively quite young, and I've thought about it. I thought they must be really stressing their body. They're feeding it the wrong fuel, because you're talking about fuel.
That's right.
And they must be stressing it so much it gets to points like, I can't handle this, and that's it, it's gone.
Yeah, well, a lot of sports, there's a lot of drugs in sports. There's a lot of supplements in sports. I just reposted one yesterday. A young girl in Western Australia just passed away from a protein.
I saw a headline. Yes.
From they said protein powders, but I think it could be a combination of everything. She did have an underlying factor, but at the same time, even in the industry, we just overload on protein, which is unnecessary. We only need a certain amount, even if we're training.
Yes.
And
would you need, if you're training?
Yeah.
If you're training intensively, would you need to supplement beyond your normal plant-based diet with protein, or would you get enough from it?
Yeah, I found with a lot of vegans, yes, because a lot of vegan diets are really high in fat and carbs. And while we get protein, we get a very small amount of protein.
Right.
A lot of vegans don't just eat beans. We're not, especially in Australia.
Not me.
We're not a real big country of eating beans. I mean, so there is so many plant-based foods with protein, but a lot of us are starting to stick to things more like the processed stuff.
Yes.
And that for me is a little concerning. So if we work out in kilo, the minimum we should have is around about 1 gram of protein per kilo. That's a minimum for someone not training. So I'm around about 52 kilos, so I need a minimum of 52.
A day. Yeah.
So, but because I'm lifting, I always have around about a minimum of 70 to 80. Now that's my level. Yeah. But in the industry, another coach would probably give me around about 150.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
what difference would that make? I mean, that's
absolutely none. Absolutely none.
It's
it would
a waste.
just end up in the toilet bowl, and it could end up with excessive ammonia because of the excess. And things like your, you can have all sorts of organ failure and stuff from processing too much.
Yes. Now I just see a couple of comments.
Not so much from plant-based though, but still, it's not necessary.
Okay. Phoebe has yes. So Phoebe has put the Vegan Apprentice Port Macquarie meetup link there. So thank you for that, Phoebe, because she was mentioning it earlier.
Yes.
Now Sean has commented that he just got his bloods back yesterday, and his protein level is 77. The normal range is 60 to 82. I'm pretty much raw, so fruits and nuts only. Eating about 60 grams of protein a day, and I'm training. Well, that sounds about exactly where you should be, from what he said.
Yeah, well, I mean, 60 is a little bit on the lower side, but I mean, he's still
slim.
Yeah, okay, well, that's fine, and it depends on what your goal is. If it's just to get your minimum requirements, I mean, my minimum requirements would be about 40. So, but I have a little bit more when I'm in a bit of a calorie deficit for my competition, because I'm lifting and I'm wanting to have the right amount of amino acids.
So, how does a calorie deficit work?
So a calorie deficit, what that actually means is that you intake a certain amount of calories into your body and you exercise a certain amount. Yeah. So then you're left with a minus number.
Yes.
And so that deficit number is the your fat loss.
Which you could only keep doing for a certain period of time, couldn't you?
Oh, that's right, because otherwise I'd keep losing everything.
That's right.
So, yeah, definitely.
Sean says, but yeah, my protein level is on the higher end. Yeah, his protein level is 77. So, yeah, that's true. It is on the higher end because its normal range goes up to 82. So, good on you, Sean. I think you're going to live through another week. But
Forever.
but where do you get your protein?
I know.
How often do you get asked that question?
Not as much anymore, actually.
Good.
Not as much. I
Good.
mean, but I think the big question is it what do you eat for protein?
Right. Okay. Well, that's more intelligent, isn't it?
Yes,
Do
I do.
you think that's more
I
intelligent?
think it is because that means people are getting more inquisitive, thinking, well, if I cut out my red meat or my chicken, what can I replace it with? So that's just generally an inquisitive way of asking, which is great.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's way better than the blunt where do you get your protein, which is more like an attack than an inquiry.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a thinly disguised attack. So I want to get on to talk about Ninja Warriors before we go too far. So Ninja Warriors, that was actually, was it filmed late last year or was it filmed early this year?
Yes, so it's almost like right now the applications are open for Ninja Warrior for next year.
Yes.
But the process goes a little bit like this, is that you put your application in by, I think it's before the 5th of September now, which was around about the same as last year.
Okay, yeah.
And then I went for auditions around, I think it was the end of September, early October, from memory. And then we had about a 4-week wait until we found out if we actually got on the show. So
I think around about that time I got an excited message from you saying, yes, I'm going to be on the show, but you can't tell anyone.
Exactly. So I made it through so the first role is to submit a video and a very long application. So I made it through that round. And then the next round is an audition, and at the same time you do a fitness test. It's pretty grueling. And then if you got past that, then you got to go on to Ninja Island, which is in Sydney Harbour, Cockatoo Island.
Oh, okay, yes.
And we filmed that last year, early December. And
but it only came to television in what, June?
Yeah, well, so, I'm not quite sure. I think they were waiting for, we were told early in the year, then mid in the year. So it only just came on in July.
So they'll probably pick a time slot that works best for ratings, maybe?
Yeah, and because it was something new to Australia, I think that was really not sure how it was going to take by Australians, but we had like 1.6 to 2.2 million people watching every night over the 3 weeks. So it was 3 nights for 3 weeks.
Now, one of the reasons you went on Ninja Warriors was because you wanted to represent the vegan side of things.
Absolutely. Yes. And I actually had a backstory which didn't get aired, but that's okay. And it was about being vegan and having plant-built muscles and all the rest of it. And I think there was another 2 vegans also that ran the course. Unfortunately, they ran the course probably even better than I did, but they didn't get on the show. And I think what we need is to get more vegans this year to enroll and get on the show. So and finish it.
That's right, and finish it, yeah.
Because Harry, you haven't mentioned how you haven't asked how far I got.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Hey, Chrissy, how far did you get?
If you missed me, if you blinked, you would have missed me on one of the nights. I actually got around about, I think it was about 3 or 4 seconds.
That's longer than I was on.
Yeah, but I'm still blessed to have a little bit of time, and they announced me as vegan fitness model, and I got bombed out on the second obstacle.
Okay.
Now, we were on one of the last nights, and the obstacles kind of got harder as I went.
I imagine, yes.
And on my night, there's 50 people running, and we had around about 30 people fall off or bomb out on the second obstacle.
Okay.
So more than half of us come off on that. And we're talking, we're all athletes. We're Olympic athletes and world champions.
So you're competing on a very high level. You're actually competing against Olympic athletes.
Absolutely. It was mind-blowing being back in the green room and asking everyone what their backgrounds were. So
wow, it would have been amazing. Darren says, hello guys, great to hear. Thank you for your comment, Darren. So do you feel that since you've done the show, what's the feedback you've got from people that knew you were doing it and you know, have you got good feedback from it? I've
had really good support from the vegan community. I think it's because bodybuilding is not always seen upon as a positive thing by the community because we're doing it more on an aesthetics basis.
Yes.
Even though I look at it as a sport.
Yes. Yeah.
But some other people don't. Whereas the Ninja Warrior was more accepted because it's fun. It went into prime time mainstream TV. And I think that is a message that will show people that to even get on the show, you have to be pretty strong and fit and agile to get there. So
definitely.
definitely.
So your top tips for getting on the show is get your application in early.
So get your application in. It really doesn't matter about the quality of your video. I remember I had about a few days to put mine in, and I was like, I just sat in front of my computer and spoke and put a few little pictures of my photo shoots on. And but be a little bit unique. A lot of people wore costumes that can help if it's different. So like a costume or have a backstory. So something that you are passionate about, or maybe something major that happened in your.
So in your story, did you talk about how you've been some of the things you've been sharing with us tonight? Did you talk about how you've been a competitor from a young age? And
well, so no, we actually talked about my cancer scare.
Yeah, you did talk about it.
And my veganism. So those were the two main things. And being a little bit older. That always comes up.
I tell you, we took the promo photo earlier, which you'll see on my timeline, and I said to Crissi, dressed with this what do they call it, a college jacket.
Yeah, it's a college jacket. It's not normally my style, but I'm pretty proud to
And I looked at the promo photo and I said, seriously, you look like you're in high school. How can you possibly be 44? It's incredible. But anyway, it's a real happy days jacket. Isn't it? It's definitely straight out of it. Anyway, that's enough about the jacket. Okay, so the point we're making there, guys, is that it would be really wonderful this year on Ninja Warrior if some vegans stepped up to represent.
You've got to the September the 5th to put your application and your videos in.
A few more weeks.
And honestly, it's probably, even out of competing, it's probably one of the best experiences I've ever experienced. So I only had around about 4 or 5 weeks to train for it once I found out, and lucky I was already a bit fit and strong, but I never swung off stuff, you know. So so that little bit of a journey really it's changed me, because now all I want to do is swing and hang off stuff.
I remember reading something about that on your timeline. It's like, I loved it so much. I just want to swing off things.
No.
That's really cool.
It's changed me. Cliche.
Now, I want to go back to what you're talking about a little bit earlier in your own personal journey, how you became vegan for health reasons. But then, like a lot of people that have started that way, I relate to that because that was also my experience. But like a lot of people that have started that way, once you start doing more research and all that, you really are affected by what's happening to the animals. And I know you're a big animal lover because you've spoken to me about it before, and you're really quite like most vegans, you're really just upset at the way that they're treated. And
absolutely, it was really devastating. And I remember saying to my husband, I'm not going to put any of my hard-earned money into anything from an animal anymore. And once I made that decision, it was really quite easy. So even one of my sons moved back, and I hadn't raised them vegan, and they were living at their dad's, and he came in and he asked for money, and I said, what are you buying with it? So he would look in the fridge and say, there's no food. But there's a whole lot of vegan food in there, but that's not food. So I wish I had my time again to do all this. I wish, like every vegan says, I wish I went vegan earlier.
Somebody said that to me the other day, actually, just on the weekend, and I said, well, don't beat yourself up about it. The sad thing was if you were aware of what's happening to the animals and you didn't make the change.
Absolutely, There's no way of going back. Sometimes it's even like with my health journey about knowing about what chemicals are in things and that. And sometimes I'll be eating something, it's always vegan, and I'll go, this has got, 625, 327, and like chemicals, and I think, I wish I didn't know that sometimes, so because it's really hard to turn away from the knowledge that and sometimes you just want to relax.
Yes, well, when you're training for competitions, you have to be incredibly strict in what you're eating, don't you?
That's right. And I've just started prep now because in 5 weeks' time I go to Spain.
Okay.
And
when is the competition you're going there for?
So I'm going to it's called the Classic Europe, and we had the Arnold Classic here earlier this year.
Yes,
and
you were in that one.
Yes, and
Yep.
I went really well. I normally compete in Masters, and Masters is over 35s.
Right.
So because I'm now 44, I'm becoming a little bit older in the Masters, but I actually competed in the Opens, competed against the younger girls, and I did better in that than in the Masters. I came third. So that's spurred me on now, because now I'm actually getting a lot of younger clients coming, signing up with me.
Fantastic.
So I thought my reach would be more for the 30s, 40s, and 50s, but now that's becoming more the 20s.
Well, that's because you look that age. That's probably the reason.
Well, I'm getting a few girls saying I want to look like you at 20, not 40.
Actually, now a good question came in from Sean there. What percentage split do you do carbs, proteins, and fats?
Okay, so that may change depending on my calories. So, but generally anywhere from like a 70% to a 65 to 70% carbs, protein around about 15 to 20%, and fats always around about 10 to 20%. Usually I try to stick around the 15%. But it's really hard getting those fats down. So
yes,
because all the yummy foods and vegan are fatty.
I'm running on about 80% fats.
But a lot of vegans are, especially if you're eating nuts, seeds, avocados, and it's not such a bad thing, but it's just not needed to have that much.
Yes, but again, and I agree, but isn't it hard to start? I mean, peanut butter, for instance, very hard to stop
I have a few
eating it.
clients that love peanut butters, so I give them PB2, which is probably not as PB2 is a powdered form; it's the fats extracted. So it is a bit processed, but they have goals to reach.
Okay.
So if they want the same, if they want the same flavour and their goals, it's kind of like their cake.
PB2, I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a powdered peanut butter. So
where do you get that?
You can get that at like Mrs. Flannery's or the health food stores.
And how do you have it? Do you put it in water?
So it's powder, so you just mix it with water and you can make it as thick as you like. And it's high protein. So you still get your protein. So, but it's processed. But at the same time, if you really crave that flavour, like on rice cakes and those sort of things, it's not bad. I make a satay sauce out of it. So
nice.
So it's very doable.
It would still be better just activating the nuts and just having a handful of the nuts rather.
Look, and I'm not against any fats or anything like that if they're whole food nuts, maybe whole food fats. I'm not into oils at all, but if they're like it's an avocado where the fibre, everything's coming as well, that's the fats I want my clients to have.
Yes.
But nuts, if you think about nuts, if you ever looked at a cashew tree, we can never sit down and eat a whole bag of cashews. So the amount of nuts we should be eating per day should fit in the small palm of your hand.
That's right.
Because that's quite a lot of cashew fruit,
I've got to correct you on that. I can sit down and eat a whole bag of cashews.
That's right. And that would be 3 days worth of calorie intake. So,
so I think I see where I'm going wrong here. Anyway.
Because we're taught they're really healthy, and they are, but they're really a moderation food.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Shauna asks, do you cut your carbs out when you want to shred and get your abs to show?
Absolutely not. And that's the difference of me being in the fitness industry. A lot of people feel that you have to cut carbs out because they're your energy source. But once you're on a deficit, you're on a deficit. So I like to keep the carbs up, and I never drop any of my clients under around 50 or 60%. So there's so many bodybuilders doing, even vegans doing vegan keto now. It's not something that I like because again, to do it vegan, you have to be processed, more processed.
And also, isn't it dangerous for the metabolism of the body or something? I think to go.
Yeah, but keto is supposed to be where you only do it for a short amount of time.
Right. Yes.
A lot of people are finding they're getting fat loss results because at the end of the day we're restricted.
Yeah.
So no matter how you're restricted, whether intermittent fasting or anything like that, you're restricted. So you're going to be cutting out the crap.
And then they'll probably bounce back later and
the worst thing with keto is as soon as you start adding carbs in, your body is going to store it.
Yeah.
So I'm all about balancing all your macros. So so in even a comp prep, I'm still floating balanced with those protein levels. The protein doesn't go down to 10. I tried an 80-10-10 prep once before, and I actually lost muscle. So I like the 80-10-10 diet if you have calorie surplus or high calories.
Right.
So that's fine because then your protein levels are higher because you've got more calories. But once I start dropping my calories, then all my levels drop.
So how do you monitor, especially with fresh, with plant foods? How do you monitor calories in celery or,
Yeah, well,
or in a
see,
carrot or something,
I know it a lot intuitively, but I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
use applications like MyFitnessPal, there's Chronometer, there's a few others out there as well that
Okay.
most people in comp prep. I
Yeah.
track all my clients through MyFitnessPal because they've got to put in their diary their exercise and everything.
So if you've cut up a few vegetables and that, do you weigh them? Do you estimate?
Yeah.
Or you have to weigh them? Wow.
I prep every
Okay.
Sunday and I weigh every single thing and then
Wow.
I divide it out. But then
Wow.
because I have such a busy week,
Yeah.
I just, in between my breaks, I go down and I just grab my food and eat it. I don't
Yeah.
have to cook it every day. So,
Right.
or I'll cook
Yeah.
it in big batch. I might cook a lot of beans, lot of rice,
Yes.
and have greens all chopped up, and then I just serve what I want when I'm ready.
Yeah. So you have that in the fridge and then just heat it up when. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
So that would on a regular meal for you would be beans and rice for.
I particularly love beans, and
Yeah.
since coming back from Mexico, I'm having a lot more refried beans,
I
like
wonder
mashed
why.
beans. Yeah. I do, and I love the bean tempehs, fire-made bean tempeh.
Oh,
so
okay.
there's a plug there.
There's a
Send me
plug
some.
to. Where do you get them from?
Again, most of the health food stores.
Yeah.
So I normally have soy tempeh, but I'm minimizing my soy a little bit for no particular reason at all.
Yeah.
But I like to always do every prep I do into a comp. I like to change things around so I can get the edge. So and learn more because my body is my tool of learning more about my body, and it may help me with other people's bodies as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and as you say, get the edge.
That's right. Yeah.
It's got to be pretty. By the way, Joe says, "Great interview, guys. Thank you for the compliment, Joe." It's got to be.
Any questions? Feel free to ask.
please ask Crissi because
spring's coming up.
Spring's coming up. You may want to look good down the beach and shredded and fit, and also Crissi's been doing this a long time. So if you want any top tips, now's your chance. You've got another. That's 20 minutes.
That's the beauty, actually. If you're having such a long time in the fitness industry doing it the traditional way, I had almost 10 years off. And so when I came back to the industry, I realized everything was still the same. The same things are still being taught today that they were 20 years ago.
That's pretty pathetic, isn't it?
It really is. Look, keto is the old Atkins diet.
Yes.
So,
I remember when that was big.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I think 70s, 80s, the Atkins diet.
Exactly. So that it's almost that.
And then he died.
Yeah. Apparently he wasn't off his diet, so I'll stick up for him there. Apparently it's from other things. So,
was it?
But I don't know.
I think just is it correct that they did an autopsy on him or something? Was he the one they did an autopsy on?
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was good or bad, the results when they checked inside him. I can't remember now, but I remember.
I think they covered up anyway.
Yeah, I remember they did an autopsy on Atkins, but I can't remember. Somebody might remember what the results of that was. I got a feeling it wasn't good.
No.
I got a feeling his arteries and that weren't good.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
All those animal fats.
Because for those that don't know, hey.
Oh, I mentioned that word.
What word?
I said all those animal fats.
Yeah.
Karma.
Karma, that's right.
There's only vegans watching anyway. So.
No, well, actually, we hope it's spreading wider. So it's a couple of comments there. Christine says, one thing you should eat, one thing you shouldn't eat. Oh, okay. What's the number one thing you should eat and the number one thing you shouldn't eat for spring? Any thoughts?
For spring, as in for like a fat loss or muscle gains, or is anything particular?
Let's go with that for fat loss for spring. Yeah, let's say that.
Well, I'm all for greens. Greens are one of the best things you can eat.
What about green smoothies? Are they as good as having your greens?
Green smoothies great, because the fibres are still intact.
Yep. Even though it's blended up, it's still doing its job.
Yeah. Green smoothies. Okay. I personally like to eat my food, and so I don't really have smoothies. I have smoothie bowls. So I add a bit more ice, or I freeze bananas. And put dates in those sort of things.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you can pick it and eat it, it's good for you. So they're things I'd go. As far as bad, if you're having a higher carbohydrate diet, I would go lower on the fats. So that is with a lot of playing around as well on my own body. That's just it. It's the known thing in the industry. If you have high protein, you have low carb and high fat. That sort of ratio. If it's for fat loss, and And if you want, or you do it the same way as I do it, which is, and a lot of vegans out there do it, is the high carb.
High carbs.
And I think a moderate protein if you're working out, and a lower fats. So, and when I say lower fats, a lot of people misinterpret that as no fats. We need fats.
Yes, that's true.
But generally, like with my clients, I put them on low fat, and then they'll get 1 or 2 treat meals a week. I call them love meals.
Love meals?
Yeah. And they can eat what they want. And I normally would have things like acai bowls with the granola on it, or mushroom and spelt toast and avocado. Those sort of things that are the things that I will go for, and they're normally higher in the fats. So.
Yeah, okay. Now, Sean asked, do carbs turn into fat? I've heard otherwise.
Any surplus of calories really turn into a body fat. If your body is going, if you're not using it, you're going to store it. So that's generally
calorie surplus, not a good thing.
It is. It's energy in, energy out at the end of the day. They do say that carbs turn into fat a lot quicker, but if you're eating fibrous carbs, your body's got to process and eliminate that extra fiber.
Yes.
So, and that actually speeds the metabolism up and burns more energy in the process.
Yeah.
So really, there's a few things I was reading years ago. There's a lot of foods out there that are almost nil calories, because by the time your body processes it, digests it, and excretes it, you've used the energy that it was.
Well, I could think of one.
Watermelon, maybe?
Water.
Well, water, definitely.
I'm fairly certain. Watermelon.
Because watermelon's like 80% water.
Yeah,
so it's ideal for us to eat, because we've 70 and 80% water in our body.
I haven't come across that one before, the nil calorie one. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Dana says, what exercises do you recommend for toning lower body, legs and butt?
Okay, so when we talk about toning, I think that one of the best things you can do if you live near a beach is do soft sand walking. I was talking to you about, because that way you're actually toning and it's the cardio. So to burn body fat, you have to be doing an aerobic type of exercise. So an aerobic means oxygen. So, and oxygen helps break down the body fat. So if you're doing a lot of HIIT stuff where your heart rate's going high and you're going into more of an anaerobic zone, you're not going to be burning existing body fat. So, but we have to remember that is that if you've got a lot of stored energy, so glycogen, which is what carbohydrates are, or form, then you're going to burn that first before you burn body fat. So that's why doing a sort of a calorie deficit, more eating less than you know.
Yeah, than you're using.
So and that's what you do. So.
Sean said he heard that it turns into glycogen, which is going back to his previous question.
Oh, excess carbohydrates? Well, your body is going. Your body is going to when you're actually ingesting carbohydrates, it does go to glycogen, but there's only a certain amount that you're going to store. So you store it in your liver and in your muscles, and then after that, it will go to body fat. Okay. So unless you burn it off.
I think a calorie. Christine's come back and said carrots, which we were talking about watermelon being.
So was carrots one of the? It could be.
What was the term? Calorie
deficit?
No, for a food that's calorie neutral, was it?
Oh.
Like water was calorie neutral when we were talking. Was it neutral? What was the term you used? You can't remember it either.
Negligible?
No, I can't remember. I can't remember what the term was. We can't remember. Anyway, but now Joe says, what about the sugar macros from fruit? I'm always over. And hello from the UK. Hello back to you.
UK.
Thank you for watching from the UK. And she says she's always over. So I guess that must
if you're tracking in MyFitnessPal, do just ignore the MyFitnessPal mounts. So MyFitnessPal and a lot of the online calculators for adding your food have a certain standards for the general population.
Right.
And so, for instance, MyFitnessPal might have 50 or 60 grams a day in there, but they're thinking people are eating other type of sugars. So I'm normally with my clients, if you're having under around about 100 or 80, that's a good amount of sugars especially if they're from fruit. If they're from donuts and cakes, it's totally different.
Of course.
So
if they're from fruit, they're going to have the fibre in that with them.
that's exactly right.
So and it's a complete.
It's completely different, and it's
yeah.
processed different. I wouldn't even worry. I mean, I only worry about my sugars for my competition clients because they're on a deadline. And if we can get more starchy carbohydrates in their diet, which is more low GI, and they don't get...
So low GI starchy carbohydrate, quinoa maybe, or...
Yeah. I mean, that's actually quite high in protein too. And but things like potatoes and rice and those sort of things.
Sweet potatoes?
It's always sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes. They're great.
Actually, all root vegetables are one of my favourite things to give my clients. So, I mean, they may get one meal of just potato, and they're like, with nutritional yeast or something. And I really, if you have a look around the world, a lot of the lean, strong people are living off cassava and all those sort of root veggies.
The oldest population in the world, the Okinawans. 96% of their diet, I think it was sweet potato.
Yeah. And then there's the kumara, so you've got a lot of more the Maoris and all that. They have
that's right.
They're really built.
So what way would you prepare if you had a client that you said to give them a meal just of sweet potato, what, steam it up or what?
Well, they can really do anything they want, but I think one of the easiest ways, and because I'm very time poor, I just buy the right size from the farmer's market every day. It's kind of like that, so it's about 200 grams, and I just wash them, and then I pop them straight in the oven, and I leave them in there for about 40 minutes, and I put them in a big
so you just bake them?
Container, just bake them, and I just cut them open on every day. It's like a big jacket's forming around, and I put my beans on, and I'm done.
Nice.
So it's so cheap too.
Wish I'd had dinner.
Should have brought some.
Yes, and I could have had dinner. So Christine says, carbs over fruits or roots over fruits?
I think a combination.
Yeah.
Definitely a combination. I have a bit of both in mind. Like to give you an example, my breakfast was a 6 grain this morning, and I had that with one date. Normally I'd have more than that. I had it with a date and banana, and then my next meal was a papaya. And I do have some protein powder in the oats, which is known as protes in the fitness world. So,
of course it is, protein and oats.
Yeah, protes. And then for lunch I had a purple sweet potato, and I had that with boons and boons. That's a new thing, haven't you heard? No, I had it with beans. I was going to say beans and nutritional yeast, but it came out as one, newt. And lots of greens on the side. So that was lunch. And I've had a smoothie bowl as well with berries and protein in that.
Nice.
But I don't normally have a lot of protein, just half a scoop in breakfast.
Maybe I can just sort of live in your backyard and throw the scraps out or something. And throw the food scraps out.
It's a normal, like even though I'm competing and at a high level overseas, I'm still having a very, very nutritious, balanced diet. So I make sure I track even my micronutrients, because I really feel that's where we're getting, where I get the gains.
And you're able to do that with these trackers that they're using?
Yes, you can see all of that. Yeah. So all of it, I don't take it scientifically, I take it as approximates, because there's always going to be some discrepancy in what's put in. I mean, because the latest seminar I went to, they said the way you cook rice is different if you cook it with a little bit of oil, which I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. But if they said you cook it with a bit of oil, it makes it more starch resistance. So it means it's actually then when you're having it, it doesn't you don't absorb as much of the carbohydrates, which is really interesting for people that are on keto and low protein diets. And it actually means that you metabolize less of it, so it has less calories.
Interesting.
So there's actually a study on it. And
but would you do that to see your
I'm not scared of carbs, so I wouldn't do it.
Okay, yes, and also the fact is that's introducing oil, which is not a healthy thing to be doing.
That's right. Well, I don't see the necessity of it, but I'm open to all sort of new studies and opening my mind to things like that.
There's a question come up there from Christine. What do you flavour your beans with? I'm
lucky I'm married to a Brazilian. So I actually He cooks a lot of the beans, but he normally just does a traditional. So we might put tamari in it, and he puts the sage leaf in it. But once it's cooked, I always put a whole heap of coriander in there, and it's pretty much it. Because we have a pressure cooker now, it makes the beans so much nicer.
I can imagine.
They just cook perfectly, and believe it or not, if you can invest in a pressure cooker, if you like beans and lentils and that, they actually there's less gas. You don't get as much gas from beans. So it's a lot of my clients that get problems with eating beans and lentils. First of all, it's because they've just come to the lifestyle. So they need to reset their body to with enzymes and that to break them down. But a lot of us drink with our meals. And that dilutes stomach acids. And so then if you're having beans and you're diluting your stomach acids, they're going to pass through to the intestinal tract undigested. So hello, gas.
Now there's another Crissi top tip.
How
not to have gas.
But even the pressure cooker, soaking them before as well, and all those sort of the things our parents done. And now that we have microwaves and cans, tins, like all my clients buy, a lot of them buy tins. And some get away with having no problems, but the ones that do, I get them to swap and cook them. And they're like, oh, I have to cook beans, I have to cook food. So
I know, in today's society, the idea of cooking food is...
That's right.
It's going out the window for a lot of people.
It is.
Brian says, you! And I mean, how could you come back to that comment? And Sean says, good. Thank you for watching, Brian. When Sean says, when burning fat, would you recommend eating a calorie surplus or calorie deficit together with aerobic exercise?
Well, you can't burn body fat if you're in a surplus.
I was thinking the same thing.
So you can't burn. And like in the bodybuilding industry, a lot of people have a calorie surplus to build muscle. And I could see why, because generally they need to have a surplus to get all their nutrients. But a lot of vegan bodybuilders, and that's the one thing I do love about the whole vegan movement in the fitness industry, is that we stay lean all year round and we still make gains. Because our diet might be lower in calories, but it's still higher in nutrients. And minerals. So we're able to do that. We don't have to.
And another thought that just occurred to me is that the nutrients and minerals, you're not getting them secondhand through an animal.
Exactly.
Which is obviously having an effect.
We prioritise. We have to eat greens. We have to eat our vegetables to get our proteins. You know, we get them from grains as well, and they're also vitamin rich. Whereas when you're an omnivore, you prioritise your protein and your meats and your egg whites and those sort of things, and they don't have any of the minerals. So then they only have a small window left for fruits. Most of them don't even have fruits, and vegetables and that sort of thing. Not all, but a lot. So
and hence why long term, that's extremely dangerous to the body.
It's really dangerous. It's really taxing. It's overloading the system. It's backing it up, and then we have all sorts of deficiencies over time. One of the biggest things is aging. A lot of even the women in mine coming into the over 35s, they're I see some girls that because you're walking in the back area, you don't know who you're competing against, and I'll look at some women going, she looks like a Masters, and they're not. And so some girls are in their 20s or 30s, and they look like they're in the Masters. So
and you're the opposite, which is actually quite interesting.
Once I get the tan on, I feel like I'm a little bit older looking, and I'll get the skinny face, the drawn face. But yeah, it's really eye opener to see what a high acid diet does to a person's body. So
it's pretty sad, isn't it?
Very. And the energy levels, like most of the girls backstage are actually normally saying, I can't wait to have a banana. And I said, I had a banana this morning to carb up. And you know. It's so backwards, isn't it? The way they're doing it. Now, also, as we're getting towards the end of our time tonight, what about supplements and that? Because we were talking about, not the person that's eating the wrong way and they're having too much animal products, and they're not getting enough minerals and that because of it. What about when you're eating the right way and you're carving up with your plant-based foods and all that? What about supplements on top of that? Anything that you would need? I don't look, depending on the person, and I leave this up to a lot of my clients and anyone that has a naturopath or must I say doctor, but if they're on something already, I'm not going to tell them to stop taking it. But I do get a lot of people saying, oh, should I take this, if I'm talking about purely for aesthetics, should I take this fat burner, should I take this, should I take that, those sort of things. I always say, let's just get the body to a homeostasis first and see what it's capable of. I've competed for 3 years without any supplements. I've had a bit of protein powder over the last 2 years, and again, it's a vegan, mainly organic, whole foods based. And this year, I've added a few supplements just for my book. I want to trial to see if I can get the edge. But they're all herb based. I'm not seeing much of a difference. But I can't make a statement on it yet until I see how I turn out in my next comp. But generally, honestly, if your food is diverse in colours and you're drinking a lot of water, good water and things like that, you really don't need to supplement. Obviously, there's all the main ones, like in general terms, the B12s and that most people all know about. But again, you can get some B12 from diet as well.
Yes, you can.
So I've only had 1 shot in 5 years. Not that I'm promoting this to anyone.
Wow, only 1 B12 shot.
I've only had 1 B12 shot in 5 years, and I've had my blood tested just 2 months ago, and it was on the medium to higher range.
Wow, fantastic.
So, and that shot was about 2 years ago. But I do eat a lot of seaweed, kelp, nutritional yeast, and those sort of things.
That's where you can get it from.
Exactly.
And in fact, I wasn't even aware of that until recently. I read it and I went, oh, I didn't know that.
And it's also about how we absorb. So because I do one week a year, I do a juice fast, and I do things like colonics and parasite cleanses throughout the year, just as a maintenance type thing. My intestinal tract is absorbing everything. So that's another thing, is that if we are clogged up, we're not going to absorb in the small intestines. So
when you do, there's a couple of questions here, but I'm going to start winding up in a second, guys. But when you do the parasite cleanse, how do you do that? Do you use herbs for that?
Well, I always do that as I'm coming out of a juice fast. And because I've taken away foods, their food source as well. And so I use a herb format called triplex. And I use that, and I use diatomaceous clay. So so I use about only a teaspoon in water every morning, and for about 10 days while I'm taking the triplex, and that's after the juice fast. So. And generally, I time it all to be around a week before full moon, over full moon, when they're hungriest, and I hope to hit them on the head. So, and I have. It's been 2 years, but I've got a blog ready to go with pictures. So it'll be a R-rated one.
I'll make sure to miss that one.
So even vegans can have parasites. And I've been 5 years vegan now, so you know, we can pick them up through barefoot, pups and animals and stuff as well.
Now we're going to wind up with some quick questions here. Sean says, what exercises do you suggest for abs? And Christine says, do you drink filtered water?
I drink straight from the mountain. So I drink from Springbrook Mountain. I get them delivered, but Mount Tamborine's really good as well. Main reason because I'm moving around all the time, so I don't want a big unit. And they're quite overwhelming to know which way to go.
When you're traveling?
When I'm traveling, I'll try to do the best I can. It's frustrating. Even on planes and that, I will always ask for the bottled water, not from underneath the hull, and those sort of things, because you can taste the difference. Exercise for abs, I would say do calisthenics. So hang off a bar and lift those legs up, and those sort of moves are the best moves to do. Even when you're squatting, you're activating your core, but calisthenics is one of the best things for abs. Even reformer Pilates, if you want to get into that. But for the girls, I do 2 Pilates reformer classes a week for my core.
You do them personally, or you
No, I actually go and participate. I like people to teach me sometimes.
Okay, well, the hour went quick.
Wow.
You said it would go quick.
I do.
And I agree that it did. So I want to thank. Well, first off, I want to thank you for coming back on the show again.
Thank you for having me.
Because it's been too long.
Yeah, it's been a year.
And when are you going to be in Spain? When are you competing in Spain?
So I leave on the 17th of September, and
Okay.
I'm there for 2 weeks. So I compete on the 23rd and 24th.
Okay. So what we're going to do is after the show, we'll put a link to Crissi's page because you've got your
update on there.
Yeah, and you've got your professional page and your personal page. So we can put that on there, or you can put it on there. One of us will put it on there.
Yep.
And so if you want to get in touch with Crissi, if you want to help being fit, then she's your lady. Okay, guys. So thank you very much for joining us. Now tonight, I've just mentioned again, coming up the Froth Fest by my sponsors. Vegan Froth is coming up on Sunday, October the 8th. So tickets are $10 each, lots of prizes. So get in there, and I'll try to remember to put a link up this week. This episode should be on YouTube within a couple of days, and you'll be able to see it the correct way around. It'll be inverted with the words the right way around in the background. And who do we have next week? Oh, next week it's all about Cocoa Whip. Cocoa Whip. Simon from Cocoa Whip is on episode 30 next week, and it's not just all about Cocoa Whip because Simon's a personal trainer and does a lot of other things as well. So I'll be talking to him then. So guys, thanks very much for your questions. Thanks for joining, and you can even ask questions afterwards, and they can still be answered after.
I'll get online and answer if you have any questions.
Yeah. And Joe says, thanks guys, better go and do some work now. Okay, it's been fun. This has been episode 29 of the Vegan Hour with Crissi Carvalho, sponsored by Vegan Frothers, and I will see you guys next week. Crissi won't, but she can be watching from there.
Yeah, I'm watching.
So until then, live vegan and save lives and have a compassionate week. Good night, guys.